Hi, good afternoon. Another interesting judgment from Bombay High Court. Goa University versus Joint Commissioner of Central GST. The facts of the case are that University of Goa was collecting affiliation fee from the colleges. Almost 60 to 70 colleges were there. They were collecting the affiliation fee and granting affiliation in terms of a statutory scheme. University did not collect and pay GST on the affiliation fees. Based on a board circular, the GST department contended GST should be charged on the affiliation fees and you should have paid it to the department. They issued a show cause notice demanding tax, interest, and penalty. So, the principal issue before the court was whether the GST authorities whether they have jurisdiction to collect the GST on affiliation fees and pay it to the department. That is the issue. The Bombay High Court first looked into various judgments for the meaning of the word education. Bombay High Court said that it has got a background that we will come little later. Why they wanted to see the meaning of the word education? Because there is an exemption notification which says the services provided by way of educational institutions, they are exempt. That is why they looked into the word what is education. So in that context, they said the Goa University was established with the purpose of ensuring proper and systematic instruction, teaching, training, and research. The fees such as affiliation fees, prospectus fees, migration certificate fees, sports fee, etc., received by the university are per se not commercial in nature. The state has a duty to provide education to the people of India. Every state has got universities, and this duty is being discharged through the university. The court said the term education should not be restricted to the activity of teaching, providing instruction to students inside a classroom. The term education is a wider term, so it involves the activity of designing the curriculum for the course of study, giving affiliation to colleges to improve the standard of education imparted, and conferring the degree also at the end of the course to the students. So, on education, this is what the court says. Now, the court looked into supply and consideration under the GST Act. The court looked into the various provisions of the GST Act and what is meant by supply and what is meant by consideration. Bombay High Court said that the affiliation is undertaken by the university in terms of a statutory requirement in discharge of its public functions. The fee collected for affiliation fails to qualify as consideration in the opinion of the Bombay High Court. The fees collected by the university, that is affiliation fees, PG registration fees, convocation fee, are not amenable to GST in as much as the fees collected by the university is not a consideration as contemplated under the GST Acts. In the opinion of the court, the fees collected are in the nature of statutory fee or a regulatory fee in terms of the statutory provisions, and they are not contractual in nature. That is important. The fees is only in discharge of statutory functions and it is not contractual in nature. The court said, hence the affiliation fee cannot be given the color of commercial receipt as there is no element of commercial activity involved in the transaction. Bombay High Court said the concept of consideration involves element of contractual relationship. A person undertaking the activity of supply must do so at the desire of another in exchange of consideration. Essentially, the court said there should be a quid pro quo. In the opinion of the court, the fee collected for affiliation will not qualify as consideration since there was neither quid pro quo nor a contractual obligation. That is what the court said. Then the court looked into that exemption notification. Bombay High Court uh, saw the exemption notification. Simply put, the notification provided that services provided by educational institutions are exempt. The court agreed with the view of the Karnataka High Court, which held it. University which grants affiliation is also an educational institution. So it is not different from the other colleges. It is also like a college. It's an educational institution. The court said that without the affiliation from the university, the constituent colleges, that is affiliated colleges, are not permitted to admit students for the course. Further, the examination is conducted by the university, which in turn leads to award of degree to the students. Bombay High Court said that fees which are collected from colleges are clearly covered by the exemption notification as services provided by educational institutions. Then the department's contention was based on a board circular. Department said, no, no, there is a board circular which said the GST is applicable on affiliation fees. Bombay High Court, relying on a Supreme Court judgment, said that clarifications which are contrary to the statutory provisions have no existence in law to attract levy of GST. Very important. Statute circulars or clarifications which are contrary to the statutory provisions have no existence in law. The court said first it should be established that the activity undertaken would qualify as supply in terms of the GST Act. Then the consideration is received as a commercial receipt. These two conditions must be satisfied. The court said that imposing levy by way of clarification is absolutely impermissible. Then Bombay High Court held that the circular of the board is contrary to the settled legal position. Circular cannot take away the effect of a notification statutorily issued. The court said department cannot whittle down the exemption notification and restrict the scope of exemption notification by issuing a circular, whereby a new condition is sought to be incorporated, thereby restricting the scope of exemption. That is what the court in effect says is, if there is an exemption notification, it has to be construed based on the exemption notification. You cannot impose further restrictions by way of a circular or take away whatever take away whatever is given by the notification. That is what the court says. Then another argument by the university was the circular issued by TRU, they are all illegal. That is what the argument. The argument of the university was TRU, Tax Research Unit, is not empowered to issue any clarification and hence the circulars are illegal. Court did not get into that question because that court decided the issue based on the main contentions of the university. The court said under the GST, the amounts that are chargeable to tax arise on account of supply of goods or services or both. And in the absence of this, show cause notice would be bad on jurisdictional facts. Then the next question that was taken by the court was GST on incidental or ancillary transactions to the main business. This is also very important. The court noted that the show cause notice also proposed a GST on sale of prospectus, sale of old newspaper, various fees towards sports, eligibility certificate, migration certificate, admission fee, etc. It was also proposed to demand tax on interest income earned by the university. So department, whenever they look into the balance sheet or profit and loss account, whatever is there, they will say, no, no, we will levy GST, you go to the court and get a relief. So even on the interest income earned by the university, they said we are demanding tax. Court agreed with the submission of the university. If the main activity is not business, then any incidental or ancillary transaction would not normally amount to business unless the department establishes an independent intention to carry on business in the incidental or ancillary transaction. The court held the burden to prove such intention rests on the department. Suppose if they want to tax all the other incidental transactions, then the burden of proof is on the department. There are any number of decisions of Supreme Court which says how to treat an incidental transaction as a sale or a supply or service under the Sales Tax Acts. I'm not saying now, in the pre GST era, under the Sales Tax Act, this portion is well settled. Then Bombay High Court held where the main and dominant activity of the university is education, it cannot be termed as business activity to demand tax. On that basis, the Bombay High Court quashed the show cause notice. So, as usual, my comments. I am sorry to say the quality of university education is abysmally low. This is true in respect of all colleges, from top to bottom. I don't want to exclude any college. Instead of improving the quality, institutions are increasing the quantity of students getting passed, including law. The number of students passing through law is very easy, unlike CA where they fix the percentage 4%, 5%. Here, whoever enters, he will come out with a law degree. And many criminals are having a law degree, especially in the state of Tamil Nadu, because they want some protection. If you are a lawyer, then the police is little bit afraid. In Tamil Nadu, at least. In other states also. Everyone is holding a degree, even without a basic knowledge on the subject. Don't ask me, sir, whether you have a full knowledge. I think I I qualify with some knowledge because I worked under a fantastic senior by name C. Natarajan. I learned everything. In law college, if you ask me whether you have learned, I have learned nothing. I can give it in writing. But I learned everything from a senior, my guru, by Mr. C. Natarajan. He is no more. Then, secondly, nowadays education is money oriented. The one who has more money is seen by the public as brilliant fellow. How he earned that money, nobody bothers. Brilliant fellow, because he earns a lot of money. But if the goal is money, any way to get it is correct. Whatever way you get it is correct. Third point, if you are educated, unfortunately, today's situation is you can work for a meager salary. But if you are uneducated, then suppose, for example, you are a rowdy or an MLA or MP or minister. I am not saying MLA is a rowdy or MP is a rowdy. Either you should be a rowdy or you must be MLA or MP or minister. Even if you are uneducated, there are many uneducated MLAs and ministers because for legislating you do not require any qualification. You or your family members may run schools, medical engineering colleges, and make huge money. The rowdy can advise the children, oh, you must study well. I have seen this in many videos have come. In one of the medical colleges in Tamil Nadu, in a mortuary room, sacks and sacks of cash was found. Huge, huge. Maybe the room full of cash was found by the ED authorities, Enforcement Directorate authorities. That is another point. The fourth point. I am sorry to say this, but in some judges' houses also, in the storeroom, money is stacked. But that means the sad truth is, education, instead of keeping its head high, kneels down before money. That is another point. Finally, what I want to say is, last 2 points I want to make. In Tamil, there is a saying, "Kattrathu kaiman alavu, kalladadu ulagalavu." That is, what you have read is, this is said by Avayar, "Kattrathu kaiman alavu, kalladadu ulagalavu." What you have learnt in this world is only one handful of sand. Compare the earth. That much knowledge is available. Earth size knowledge is available. What anyone must have learnt is only one handful, even the best intelligent. Einstein would have learnt only one handful of sand from that earth. That is, in that case, I don't know whether one grain of sand I have learnt. I have to say that. I cannot say about others. That everybody has to judge. Gita also says, Bhagavad Gita also says, Vidya Vinaya Sampanni. That means the more you get educated, the more humble you becomes. How many educated people are humble, truly educated? I don't know. That's also a bigger question. Finally, there is a similar Delhi High Court judgment. In the case of Central Electricity Regulatory Commission versus Additional Director General of GST, there also they said statutory fees is not liable for GST. Now, of course, this judgment is not cited before the Bombay High Court, but if anybody is interested, I just wanted to mention it here. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.